Kishimoto had just teased a way for Sasuke to get his Rinnegan and lost arm back, and it's not even a theory at this point. We have got a number of reasons for this twist to happen, from philosophical to scientific, and you won't believe how much sense it makes. The way Sasuke was actively investigating the Ten Tails to the point that he himself became its victim is not the end of his story. It's just a stepping stone to a major power-up that I believe he would unlock once he's free from this captivity. He was the only prominent Uchiha who didn't become the Ten Tails jinchuruki for obvious reasons, but looking at the new dynamics of Two Blue Vortex, it seems like he would inherit some of the juubi power. Unlike the traditional jinchuruki, Sasuke's inheritance of this power could be similar to Himawari, who is literally a human Bijuu at this point. And in order to find out all the possible ways to reach there, let's start from the two vital factors, the Shinju clone and the Shinju tree, which would help Sasuke to get his lost powers back. One of the reasons Sasuke's hiatus from the story is not that appreciated is because he didn't get a final form and tough battle like Naruto's Baryon mode. There were some possibilities for him to get more powerful, from the scientific ninja tools to the Hashirama cells. Even a better hold of the six-patch chakra could have done the magic for him. But what we got instead was his captivation into a Shinju tree, which transferred his chakra to the main Ten Tails body, which then led to the birth of his clone Hidari. Now the role of Hidari is the most interesting among all the Shinju, not just because he's after Sarada, but also because he keeps an introspective demeanor, especially after being revived, which kinda hints at his potential redemption. Hidari betraying Jura would mirror the early days of Sasuke, where he went against most of his allies to follow his own vision. But while the captivation of Sasuke inside the Ten Tails Amp tree has led to a totally new and different dynamic in the story, what's more interesting is the tree itself, because with every passing chapter, we got to know that it has a lore of its own. It was revealed by Matsuri in chapter 17 that there is a whole underground system of trees which can actively communicate with the Shinju. The Shinju's plan was to use the voices of the trees to track down Boruto, but while the plan didn't fulfill, the introduction of these underground trees introduced a brand new angle to us for understanding how the divine trees work. The whole system of these trees might have been an amalgamation of the original god tree, which was present on the planet from Kaguya's time. Code revealed in part 1 that the divine tree cultivation absorbs the entire chakra out of a planet, and the only way to survive is by escaping to another dimension. Now here's a chart of planet Earth, and in order for a divine tree to absorb all the chakra, it will need to scatter all its roots throughout the planet. This means the roots of the original divine tree are still spread throughout Earth, meaning the Shinju's connection to them is based on the fact that they are literally of the same kind. Now this could double down in a number of ways, such as the love philosophy of Jura, where he is intrigued to either devour Himawari, who possesses the power of his own kind, or Naruto, who once shared a good bond with all the tail beasts. While Jura has been intrigued from the possibility of consuming a chakra fruit, but I think he would not entertain the idea of destroying the planet, since the roots of the divine tree are spread all across. However, the point here is not that. The simple fact that Jura could heal his eye through these trees and Sasuke is trapped in the same tree is pointing at something unexpected that could make a lot of his fans happy. We now know from the Jura incident that the god tree has healing properties, and it might eventually heal the lost body parts of Sasuke as well. The specific concealment of Sasuke's left eye as well as the left arm by the tree is a deliberate narrative choice. Sasuke's Rinnegan was originally in his left eye, granted by Hogoromo or Sasuke, and his left-handedness is a noted trait. The tree's coverage of these areas may symbolize the preservation or transformation process, where the Shinju is holding or reconstructing these lost attributes. Now here we are back to Hidari, and how his appearance is pointing at the same thing. The fact that the Shinju clone wears a cloak draped over his left eye and has a studded arm guard on his left forearm further reinforces this connection, suggesting the tree is channeling Sasuke's essence into these specific features. And it's not only limited to his appearance. Hidari's name means left arm in Japanese, and he was born from Sasuke's chakra after he was consumed by a claw grind. His identity is shaped by Sasuke's emotions and bonds, particularly his connection to Sarada, and he also possesses two purple Rinnegan, unlike Sasuke's single Rinnegan with Tomo. Philosophically, Hidari represents the left side of Sasuke's identity, where his darker conflicted nature, tied to his Uchiha heritage, Indra's reincarnation, and themes of malice and destruction, which is what left often symbolizes in various cultures. The divine tree's ability to create Hidari with Rinnegan suggests that Sasuke's chakra still contains the potential for this ocular power. If Sasuke's tree can tap into the same healing mechanism as Jura's, it could restore his Rinnegan and arm, symbolizing a reconciliation of his fragmented self, which would merge his human and divine aspects. Now when it comes to the Rinnegan, the other Shinju also possess the same ocular power, but what makes their case a bit different is the time that they spent being a tree. Both Ryu and Matsuri got eliminated in a very short span of time, but when it comes to Hidari, he has been revitalized by the soul thorn bulb before, and there is no way resurrection process wouldn't have affected his tree as well. Here we have another big reason to believe in the possibility of Sasuke getting his lost parts back, is the soul thorn bulb, a key component of the human god trees, which is used to revive entities like Hidari by connecting to the Shinju's root system. Boruto has attempted to secure Hidari's bulb to free Sasuke, indicating that the bulb contains his essence. If the Shinju's roots can revitalize complex structures like Jura's Rinnegan, they could theoretically use the stored chakra of the bulb and genetic data to reconstruct Sasuke's lost arm and eye upon his release. This process would align with the themes of the series, which are sacrifice and redemption, as Sasuke's restoration would come through his connection to the Shinju, which both imprisons and potentially empowers him. In simple words, the soul thorn bulb of Hidari could have the entire original genetic code of Sasuke, which includes the imprint of his arm as well as the Rinnegan. Take a look at this panel where Hidari's body has almost fully been destroyed before he turned into a soul thorn bulb. The fact that the regeneration brought his original form back supports the possibility of Sasuke also returning with his lost body parts. Now before we head over to the scientific side of this theory, let's understand how this liberative healing of Sasuke would lead to him unlocking some new powers. In this case, the power of the 10 tails or the god trees. First off, you must be aware that Sasuke getting the Rinnegan and arm back would mark the fulfillment of his redemption journey. He refused to get a synthetic arm like the one used by Naruto just to atone for his sins. But looking at how fate would naturally grant him the lost things back, Sasuke would definitely be free from the burden of his past after that. Now what you need to understand here is that it was the will of Sasuke to not get a new arm when given the choice, and the wills of many characters have played a strong role throughout the story of Naruto. Powerful individuals with vast chakra like Hagoromo or other Otsutsuki can imprint their will onto objects, beings or the world, allowing it to act autonomously or guide events. These wills can drive major conflicts and resolutions, embodying the idea that ideologies and legacies shape history. Some examples would be the division of the 10 tails into 9 separate beings through the will of Hagoromo, Ashura and Indra Otsutsuki embodying opposite ideals, where one valued love and unity, while the other sought power and control. When Hagoromo chose Ashura as successor, a feud began, and after their death, their chakra and wills lived on through the cycle of reincarnation, sparking a generational conflict. The cycle finally ended when Naruto and Sasuke reconciled after their last battle. We also have Kaguya Otsutsuki's will, aiming to reclaim her chakra and dominate humanity through the infinite Tsukuyomi, which is what led to the formation of Black Zetsu, a chakra-based entity embodying her will to manipulate events for her resurrection. Now when it comes to Two Blue Vortex, the same concept can be applied to Hidari, who could use his will to power up his human counterpart Sasuke. Now this gets really interesting, so I hope you pay some attention. Kashinkoji's prescience showed us multiple future events, with one of them having the second showdown between Sarada and Hidari. What's unique about this sequence is that Sarada has her Mangekyou active, and it was the same awakening, which allowed Sasuke to trust her after omnipotence. So what if just because Sasuke's association with Mangekyou was a token of trust between him and Sarada, it could have become a part of Hidari's subconscious self, which would allow him to see the true reason behind why his instincts would push him to devour Sarada. He would realize it would be love, and after understanding its true importance, he could put forward his will as a Shinju creature in order to help Sarada in her ultimate mission. So what if he himself gives up on his soul thorn bulb and plans to channel his raw Shinju energy into his human counterpart? In this way, Sasuke, just like his clan members Madara and Obito, would obtain the power of a divine tree, but not as the jinchuruki of the 10 tails, but solely because of Hidari's will, who would pass down a portion of his power to Sasuke in order to redeem him for his own sins. In this way, he would kind of run down a similar path, and while it wouldn't make Sasuke as strong as Boruto or Kawaki, the power up would still be significant, since it would make him as strong as Hidari. Now let's come back to the scientific evidence behind how the trees would reform the lost organs of Sasuke. It draws on to the pseudo-scientific framework of Naruto, which composes of chakra, genetics and cellular memory, but it can also be seen through a speculative scientific lens. In Naruto, chakra is renowned as the blend of physical and spiritual energy. The root system of the Shinju, described as a living entity with cellular memory, could function like a biological database, storing and manipulating genetic and chakra-based information. This is analogous to real-world epigenetics, where environmental factors influence gene expression without altering the DNA. The Shinju's ability to regenerate the Rinnegan of Jura suggests that it can reconstruct complex cellular structures, potentially by accessing Sasuke's six-patch chakra to restore his Rinnegan's unique Tomo pattern and his left arm's musculature. The primary scientific hurdle is the Rinnegan's mystical origin, cause it's a divine gift from Hagoromo rather than a purely genetic trait. However, since Hidari has Rinnegan derived from Sasuke's chakra, the Shinju may be able to replicate or restore this power by accessing the unique heritage of Sasuke. The regeneration of the arm is more plausible as it involves standard tissue reconstruction. The main speculative leap is the Shinju's ability to selectively target and restore specific features, but the narrative emphasis on these areas enhances the possibility of this theory to come true. Now here is something different that I would like to discuss about Hidari. You may be wondering why there is Hidari using the Susanoo in the thumbnail. Well, it was not meant for clickbait. I believe the Shinju might be able to tap into some powers of Sasuke as well. We already saw him using the lightning style, and while he has a Rinnegan in both his eyes, the same was the case with Madara, yet he was able to pull off the Susanoo. The other Shinju have also shown to use the powers of their respective counterparts, and looking at the tendency of Hidari to betray Jura, wouldn't it be cool to see him go against him by using the true powers of Sasuke, just to show us how much he can amp up his original powers as a Shinju. This would also turn this fight of Hidari as a redemption battle to get over the bad that he did in this short span of life. The whole point of living someone else's life could make him feel miserable, and if he becomes the only Shinju to truly understand the spark behind his instincts, there is no way he wouldn't do something to redeem his actions, and going against Jura even after knowing that it would lead to his own death would be the perfect dark twist in his legacy. The comical moments might relieve the tension between these new villains, but I personally feel like the story is running down a darker path with every passing chapter, so Hidari being the one to show us one such dark segment of the story could be one of the perfect plot twists in the story. If you are interested in more such theories, make sure to check out these videos right now. I will see you next time.